Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Game and Gig podcast, we are talking about what games we've consistently come back to over the years. We had a little bit of an argument off screen before we started the podcast, which is, just for anybody wondering, that's not an unusual thing.
No, it's not.
It
wasn't a heated argument.
No, that actually would be unusual. But you know, when we were coming up with the idea for this podcast, I had originally phrased it as which games had the most replay value.
Right.
And I had all these games listed out, and I was just kind of talking through them, and you were like, "No, man, that's not replay value. You don't know jack crap."
Well, so we had the conversation about live service games and like, do those games have replay value? I mean, like, they have a lot of value in terms of that. Yes, you can go back to them over and over, but when I think of games having replay value, I think about games that maybe weren't intended to be played continuously like a live service game.
So you're thinking of like a straight up restart of a
Yeah,
game.
like replay.
Yeah.
Whereas like live service games, they really don't have like a clear ending or even
Right.
beginning. They just are what they are.
Right. And I was just thinking, my whole life, when I've heard the term replay value, I just always regarded it as, you know, what games can you squeeze the most hours out of, basically. It's kind of how I've always thought of it.
Right. I don't know, because in my mind, live service games they don't have a replay value because you're not replaying them, you're just playing them some more.
Right.
You know?
You're just playing them
Yeah, the way they're meant to
for
be
a
played.
long time. Yeah. So that was interesting. So we actually had to kind of rephrase our podcast idea to what games do we keep coming back to?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that my idea still fit.
Which I think is a good idea. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I like thinking about what games I've come back to over and over throughout the years. Why do you come back to a game again? Like, you know, you've already played it. Why go back and do it again? Right?
Well, as I was kind of listing some of these games that I've done that with, which we'll get to, as I was listing them out, though, I noticed that they all have some common themes. You know, a lot of them are just, I mean, honestly, some of them are open world, but some of them aren't. But what they all have in common is that they have a lot of content that doesn't get boring. You know, maybe you can change up the way you play it completely. You know, come at it from a different angle or something like that.
Like reasons to go back and do it again because you can, like, you know, change
Because you
the
can
way
make it fresh again.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Ways to keep the gameplay fresh.
I think, yeah, sure.
And, you know, I don't really want to spoil any of these games, but the one I always think of is Super Smash Bros. Because if you ever get bored with Smash, just pick up a new character and it's a new game again.
Right, something new to try out.
Yeah, and that's what made me think of this podcast in general, because I'm doing it right now.
Right, you're trying to main Pikachu again.
Trying to main Pikachu. It was my first effort when Ultimate came out, and I got pretty good with him, but I eventually moved on, and I've decided to come back. Due in no small part to the fact that the Pikachu Libre skin is fire.
Pika Libre.
Yeah. You know, fun fact, that's the only female Pikachu in the roster.
How is it? Do they show you the gender? Of...
No, but you can tell by the tail.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
the male Pikachu tail is like really angular and zigzagged all the way to the end. The female one has like a couple little curves at the top, almost like a little heart.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yep, and Pika Libre has that.
I'm learning new stuff about Pikachu today.
You should have wore your Pikachu shirt.
You know, I got rid of my Pikachu shirt.
What?
I grew out of it.
Oh.
Grew out of it, aka I gained weight and couldn't wear it anymore.
Does Catherine still wear it?
No, she didn't. Well, you know, she may have it in storage somewhere. Maybe we didn't throw it away. To my memory, we got rid of it.
That makes me sad.
I know. You know, now I've lost some weight and I might be able to wear it again.
Yeah,
but
I'll get you a new one.
maybe it's I should have worn it today.
What about you, though?
Why would I go?
Yeah, why do you come back to a game? We have so many games to play. Why would you replay another one?
I know, right? I think about games that I have replayed, and it's generally because I like the main thing I think of is like I just love the world that they created, or I love the environment, or you know the way it feels to play the game so much that I just want to live in that world some more. Like, that's like a big one for me.
Yeah.
So that's certainly part of it. And then another big reason that I go back and play games is nostalgia. You know, like just wanting to recapture a bit of feeling like I did when I was a kid, you know? So there's a lot of games that I've played again from my childhood, and those are not necessarily games that are like games that you go back and replay a different way.
Yeah.
But it's just about capturing that feeling again, you know?
I'm doing that right now actually with Mega Man X4, which I've never played before, but it plays just like Mega Man X, which I've played like a million times.
Right. Okay.
And you can change it up too, because you can play a 0 or X. So yeah, that fits that pretty well, and it's a big nostalgia hit.
Right. Yeah. I feel you on that.
But when you mention like living in the world of the game, like I see your hat, and
Oh yeah.
I just think about like Breath of the Wild,
Well,
because it's a great example of that.
yeah, and Breath of the Wild is one of those games that I actually have not replayed. I spent tons and tons of time, well over 100 hours, if not 200 hours. I don't know how much time I've got in Breath of the Wild, but I've certainly got many hours in the game. I haven't replayed it. That's just the first playthrough, and I didn't do everything.
Right.
I did like most everything, and then most of the DLCs and stuff, but I haven't done it all.
You want to hear something crazy about that game?
What?
So Tatum is like a huge Breath of the Wild fanatic.
And Tatum is one of our friends.
One of our friends. Yeah, we've talked about it on the podcast a number of times. He texted me last night because he just noticed that the map has like a percentage, which I think it's funny that he just noticed that.
Map, like in terms of like how much of the map you've been to?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
He just noticed it, but he's done like everything in that game. He's got all the Korok seeds. Like he's done it all. And his percentage is at like 54.
Wow.
I can't figure out, and neither of us could really figure out why that is, but
It must. I don't know. Are you sure it's a map percentage?
Maybe
Are we
not.
sure that number is?
But what else could it be?
Maybe it's just. I don't know.
I mean, it's not like a map percentage.
Is it a game percentage? Like how much?
How
of this,
could he be only halfway through?
Well, I mean, like I would maybe assume maybe it's something like every NPC side quest and like every Korok seed and like everything the game offers.
Yeah, but there's like how many Korok seeds? Like 900 something.
900 something. Yeah.
He's found them all.
Oh gosh.
And he's done like he. How could he not be more than half? Like I don't know. Maybe it's not a map. I mean, it's definitely not map discovered.
Yeah.
He thinks it's map visited. Like
you have
maybe
to,
like set
traverse, like step foot on every square foot of the map.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is a huge game, and that's definitely one that I haven't replayed, but I plan to replay.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of putting it off because I want to play it right before the sequel comes out.
I want to do the same thing.
That's my plan. So I'm going to do that, and that's one that I will replay. And there are games that I've played in the last year or two that are games like I will go back and replay them, or at least I plan to.
Yeah.
But one of my big games that I've gone back to, probably maybe not the most times, but maybe take the most hours to do is Red Dead. The first Red Dead game, and I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I've played that game all the way through, I think 4 times. And the most recent time I did it, I didn't 100% it because I didn't do all of the I didn't do all the little things to get the costumes, all the costumes and stuff. But I did every mission, I did every side mission, I did every chance encounter, I did everything that game had to offer. And I'm gonna play that game again.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna do it.
Randy likes to claim that he did 100% it. He's actually being really honest here, and I appreciate that.
Well, I didn't 100%, but I got really close. And Red Dead 2, I've also gone back and played again.
Yeah.
And both those games are fairly big undertakings. And going back to a game that big, especially Red Dead 2, is not, a decision you take lightly.
No.
It's a big game.
It is.
But I love
they're
that.
amazing.
I love that world.
Yeah.
I love that, feeling like it is so immersive. And I just love living in the world of Red Dead. And every so often I just get a hankering to go back and do it again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto. I mean, we grew up playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
But then GTA 5's been out for 25 years now. And I played it when it first came out on 360. Never completely finished the story because all I did was screw around and I was a teenager. That's how I played Grand Theft Auto. But then I went back and beat the story a year or two ago. It's been pretty recently.
And you probably will go back and play it again, right?
Yeah, I got right back into it. Almost jumped into GTA Online, but I stopped myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure GTA Online is great. I mean, it is the most popular stream game on Twitch.
Yeah, that's true.
Or at least it was the day we checked.
The day we checked
We
it
had
over a plate of Hot Wings.
we were we were eating some hot wings, and with some friends and stuff, and we were like, what game do you think is the most popular on Twitch? And we all gave our guesses. I don't think any of us guessed GTA Online,
No, you guessed League of Legends, which I thought was crazy.
which was like number 2.
Yeah, and I guessed Fortnite, which was like
Fortnite was on the
top
list,
5,
but it
maybe.
wasn't. And then I think
Nick guessed something that was like
yeah, we guessed Roblox. It was way
yeah,
down.
Yeah,
It was like in the top like 20 or something, but it wasn't. I don't know what he was thinking.
that's funny.
But I think that probably changes, depends on who's streaming at the time and how popular they are. But
Definitely.
but when we checked, GTA Online was the most popular game being streamed that day. Mm-hmm. So, we talked a little bit ago about live service games.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, I don't play live service games that much. Mm-hmm. Or at least I didn't.
You didn't. I was about to say.
I didn't until Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And that's a game that, we have been playing very consistently for
Months.
months and months now. And it kind of has changed my opinion on how I feel about live service games.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't really been into them.
No, I mean, I think, I don't want to speak for you completely, but I know that I felt this way, and I think you might have too. Like, I wanted to find a live service game that I liked.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a part of it somehow. And we did the Fortnite thing for a while, and you got really into Fortnite for a while. And
But eventually got off of it.
yeah. And then we tried Apex, and we just kind of sucked at it. So we eventually gave up, and man, that is an intense game. That's got a steep learning curve right there.
Yeah, guys, if you guys have played Apex Legends, it is a very fun game.
It's a great game.
But it was super hard to get into because I feel like everyone one first-person shooter, I'm not great at those games to begin with.
Me neither.
And then you throw me in there, and then everyone we were playing with has obviously really dedicated some time to being good at this game. Mm-hmm. And it was like it wasn't like Fortnite where you could do pretty well
Yeah.
from the very beginning. It
It didn't have
that.
as much personality as Fortnite either, for me.
But it was, I think, I don't know.
It was more realistic. It was like more gritty.
Yeah, I did
And
like
Fortnite's like cartoony,
Well, I mean, Apex isn't exactly realistic, but
Well, no. But it's more realistic than
I
Fortnite.
thought Apex was going to be one that we got really into, and it just didn't happen. We only played it there for a few weeks, and then we got off of it.
And then we got into Sea of Thieves, and it was.
That's all she wrote, right?
That's all she wrote. I mean, that game. I mean, what is it about Sea of Thieves? Why do we keep playing it? I mean,
I think that Sea of Thieves is one of those games where it really, there isn't that much to Sea of Thieves, but what is there allows for limitless
Endless,
possibilities.
yes.
You're always encountering different people, and because it's direct interactions where you kind of choose, like, do you want to make friends with this person? Do you want to attack them and steal their loot? What do you want to do? And you never know how people are going to interact with you, and you really don't know how you're going to end up interacting with other people.
right.
And it just it has a really great framework
Yeah,
for creating that type of stuff.
definitely. It gives you a ton of tools to just go make your own fun.
Mm-hmm.
And not that there isn't, tall tales and, PvE you can get into, because there's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But it's not my favorite part of the game, and I don't think it's yours either.
But I think that if it didn't have that, the game wouldn't be as good. I think that what's really great is that it is a mix of this PvE, PvP, and because you're interacting with other people, but you're also interacting with NPCs, and it's like constantly just
it's PvPVE.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And not many games do that.
No, and it does it really well. I mean, you're in a ship fight, and all of a sudden a Meg shows up, and then you're getting attacked by this giant shark, and then another ship shows up, and then you got 3 ships. They're all getting attacked by this Meg, and then somebody gets krakened, and it's just constant insanity. And
that makes for a game that you can keep coming back to because it's gonna always be different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also so many of those commendations you can do. I mean, we've talked about how that's not really our focus, but it's a lot of people's focus. They get into the commendations, and it's hours and hours and hours and hours you got to sink into the game to get them. So they've got a really great formula.
As we were going through that, I was thinking how different something like that is than a lot of other games that I've come back to over and over. I think about like Nintendo 64 games that I really come back to just because they were my childhood. I think like Mario 64, Star Fox 64. Those are games that I've played over and over and over and over, and I still love coming back to. I just played Star Fox 64 the other day.
Yep.
And those are so different than like a game that gives you a different experience, because Star Fox 64 is, once you have the couple paths down, it's really the same game over and over.
Just an on-rail shooter with some great skins.
But I think sometimes a short little game that's just fun, those can be great games to come back to over and over because, it's just fun. And you don't have to, it's not a huge commitment,
Definitely.
And even Mario 64, even though that's a longer game, it's not like, you're still going to be doing the same stuff over and over.
Right.
In terms of like, once you've played the game, the next playthrough is not going to be that different.
Nope. No, not at all.
But it's a game that I've enjoyed, that I've come back to over and over. And Odyssey, like I think about like other 3D Marios, like I played Odyssey through twice and love that game.
Right. Yeah, we were just talking about Odyssey last night, and kind of got me excited to try to play it again, maybe in co-op. Also, speaking of Nintendo and Mario and all that, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is another game that's kind of held me pretty tightly for its like entire life. I mean, even before it was 8 Deluxe, I played it when it was just 8, on the Wii U. And then with these new booster pass courses, it's just, giving some more variety to the gameplay, and also like being an esports coach of a Mario Kart team kind of made me want to play it again.
Right.
But I still play that game pretty regularly.
Right. And when that's a game that's meant to be played regularly, it's meant to be, either just one of those games that you can pick up and play for, you can just do it. You can spend 20 minutes on it.
Yeah. And then, I love that.
And then you can come back to it in a week, or, you come back to it every day, or you can come back to it in a few months, and it's always going to be there. And it's going to be consistent, and it's good, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But that's what it's intended to do. And it does a really good job with it.
Yeah. Same as Smash, really, in that
I think
regard.
there's a lot of games that want to be that way. They want to be that like de facto, just come back to me anytime. You can jump right in. But
the market's cornered.
Yeah. Mario Kart's got it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Forza Horizon series.
Yeah.
And so much fun. For a very similar reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a game that if I owned it, which I don't own anymore because I was playing it on Game Pass, and I don't have Game Pass anymore. But if I owned it and it was just like, I'm bored. I got 20 minutes. What can I do? I don't want to like pull up a big, like a big single player campaign game.
Right.
Pulling up something like Mario Kart or Forza Horizon is absolutely one of the coolest things you can do.
Yeah. I literally did that before you came over here. I should have been making an outline, but I just didn't think about it. I just played 15 minutes of Smash.
Right.
And then the only other games I really have on this list for me are the Bethesda RPGs. So for me, the big ones were Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Skyrim. I played Oblivion as well, but Skyrim really blew the door open. But it was honestly Fallout 3 that hooked me first. And that just goes back to what we've been talking about.
Have you replayed those games, or those games you just played a lot?
I replayed Fallout 3, and I replayed Skyrim. But I don't know that I completely finished either replay through. But I approached because those games, you build your character and you have like certain stats that you specialize in. So I did it with like different specialties.
Okay, yeah.
And on my replays, I always like went way more off the rails and like did more side quests and things like that. So I don't think I finished the main quest on either one of them, but I have significant hours in replays of both of those. I don't know that I ever did that with New Vegas.
It seems like especially something like Skyrim, like I've heard a lot of people going back and playing it, or just either replaying it a bunch of times, or just having their playthrough that they've been doing and they've been on it for hundreds and hundreds of hours,
That gets boring for me because you basically turn into a god. And like nothing can touch you in the whole world. That gets kind of boring.
But Skyrim definitely seems like one of those games that people do. You hear about people going back and replaying it over and over. I personally don't know. I've played Skyrim once, and it was fun. I don't think I hit it at the right time. I played it.
No, you didn't play it.
I played it like 11 years after it was out.
Yeah.
I don't know when it came out, but I played it like 2 or 3 years ago.
It came out when we were in college. like 2012 or 13.
Oh, well, I didn't play it 11 years after because that would be like now or something. I played it like 2 or 3 years ago. So I think I played it in like
2011.
Okay, I played it in like I want to say 2019, maybe 2020.
Yeah. I got that thing midnight release, so.
Yeah. See, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't go back and replay it now. I don't think. I have no desire to.
Yeah.
But it was good. Maybe if I had, got it at the time, maybe then I would have more of an attachment to it. Because now I think its flaws show a little bit more.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think of games that I've also gone back and replayed. Ooh. So, like, again, this is just nostalgia, but I've gone back and played Roller Coaster Tycoon, The Sims. Like, those games are games from my childhood that I love to go back and play. That I don't know how many times I've been like, oh man, I'm going back into Roller Coaster Tycoon, and then I'll play it for a week or two, and then
that sounds
forget about it for years, and then go back and do it again, over and over and over.
Is that on Steam?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty fun.
I still play my original Roller Coaster Tycoon disc from 1999.
Seriously?
Yep.
Dude, that is awesome.
Last time I played it, I put it in and loaded it up. I had to use, like Windows has a thing where you can run it like as an old old machine. I think it ran as like a Windows 98 machine or something.
Yeah.
And I'm able to still play my original Roller Coaster Tycoon disc.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day of somebody doing something similar to that. They had their original Pokemon Blue, and they had like ripped the save data and created a ROM.
Oh yeah.
And so they were like playing an emulator, but they were like, I'm playing my original Pokemon Blue save, from 19 whatever.
Yeah,
so,
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's pretty cool.
So, do you have any games that you plan to replay?
Yes. I mean, we already talked about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And I do want to do that before the sequel comes out in 2027. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I also really want to play The Last of Us Parts 1 and 2.
Dude, yeah.
It hasn't been that long since I played them.
You played them last summer?
Yeah, maybe last summer. But I really want them again. So I don't know. That may be a this summer project again. Mm-hmm. I did it in like 3 days. So it 3 or 4 days.
So good too.
When I have free time on my hands, I can do that.
I'm definitely going to replay those games. Now, it comes down to, there's these rumors this part 1 is getting a remake.
Yeah.
And if that happens, I don't know if I would replay the original before.
I wouldn't replay the original before I played the remake.
I'd probably just go into the remake, yeah.
Yeah, if a remake was coming out, there's no reason to play the original and then be like...
Well, I was thinking like compare and
Well,
contrast,
that would actually be kind of cool.
But I don't know.
I don't know. I have my reservations about the remake. I just don't think it needs it. I think it's perfect, but I'll totally play it.
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, dude.
I mean, it may just be amazing. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know.
It is Naughty Dog. I trust him.
But I do want to. I'm definitely going to replay those games because they're just they're like some of my favorite games of all time. Of course, I want to replay them.
It's the greatest story ever told.
Yeah.
And then the only other game that I jotted down for games I really want to revisit is Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread. I
want to replay it on a hard mode or something.
I don't think I'm going to replay it. Maybe I probably when the game first came out, if you had asked me, I probably would have said, yeah, I'll probably replay it. But the further I get away from it, I like, but don't love the Metroidvania games.
Yeah.
Like, I do like them, and I thought I wouldn't like them at all. Mm-hmm. But then playing all the Metroid games leading up to Dread really gave me a great appreciation. I realized that it's a type of game that I didn't think I would like.
Yeah.
But it's one I really do like, but I don't love it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like... It's kind of like Zelda games, like those classic, dungeon Zelda game, 3D Zelda games. I like them. I don't love them, but I do. Like, I want to play them all, but I don't know how much I'm going to go back and replay them. The only one I've replayed is Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. I love Dread. And it's only like a 9 or 10 hour game, so it's not that much of a undertaking.
I just realized in my head, it's like... Breath of the Wild is it's in a different category than those other Zelda games.
Oh, it's not the same.
Because it's not the same. Mm-mm. Like, I'm definitely going to replay Breath of the Wild, but, like, I just finished playing Wind Waker not too long ago, and I don't see myself going back and replaying it anytime soon. Maybe 10 years from now, I might be like, yeah, I'm going to go back and replay it. But
do you want them to include those classic dungeons like they used to? Like some people are clamoring for dungeons, and
no, I don't have any interest in them. I think that the dungeons they're cool, but it creates a very specific type of game, and I think that Breath of the Wild wouldn't be the same if it had a bunch. Like, Breath of the Wild does have some similar things to dungeons.
Yeah,
in terms of the divine beasts.
They're like dungeons light.
Oh, well, you're talking about like the shrines?
No, I was talking about the divine beasts.
Yeah, they're pretty. They're like dungeons, but they're different, and they're like Breath of the Wild. They fit the game more. The whole dungeon like formula is that you go through the dungeon, you get a new tool that allows you to do new things, and that's like how it works, right?
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild can't have that.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be open-ended. You can go anywhere you want.
Right.
You can do whatever you want.
Right.
And if you set like nope, this is how you get this specific tool in it, then it unlocks other parts of the world and whatever, or get through this dungeon so you can reach other parts of the world. Breath of the Wild can't have that.
Yeah.
It'd be the same game.
I think when it first came out, I was disappointed to not get dungeons. Not that I was disappointed in the game, because I was amazed in the game, but I wanted dungeons. Now I think I agree with you. I don't really give a crap.
I think they're just too like. I think that formula has found a natural ending place. Like Skyward Sword has actually some really great dungeons in it, but Skyward Sword didn't do that well. One, I think because they went all in on the motion controls, but also because I think that formula just kind of played out.
Yeah. I can
Wind
see
Waker
that.
had great dungeons, but it's not like that I'm going to be like, man, I had so much fun solving the puzzle in that dungeon. It's just okay.
Yeah. I still think about, I always think of the water temple because it frustrated me so much when I was a kid.
Right. And I don't think frustration is something that a lot of people are looking for these days.
No, I did, for years and years and years, I thought I actually broke a save file in the water temple. You told me that apparently I didn't.
No, I think that there is a common misconception that you can do, I can't remember what it is.
It's like you push a block at the wrong time and put it in the wrong place.
You do it in the wrong sequence. And many people think that once you do that, there's no coming back.
Yeah.
But I think that it's just, that's not the case.
Yeah.
I think that is not the case. I think there is a way, but it's like very convoluted. But there is, because I think I did the exact same thing and was able to get out of it by looking it up. But you didn't have the internet back then.
Yeah, I couldn't look. I just thought it was.
And I may be wrong. Maybe you can break a save file.
I ended up taking that save file and using a Game Shark and just like going crazy on it, and like levitating all over Hyrule and
that's cool.
doing crazy stuff. I just went over and fought Ganon. That was a weird time.
Yeah. Well, when we're talking about replaying games, part of that, I'm trying to segue into our poll in a good way.
This is a super smooth segue, man. Part of that,
well, you got to buy your games somewhere.
You have to buy your games before you can play them, and then you have to play them before you can replay them. So where'd you buy your games?
Where do you buy your games to begin with? So moving on to the next segment of the podcast. Where do you buy games was our poll. And I think this was interesting because specifically this is talking about physical games.
Yep.
At least that's what the answers kind of lead you to, kind of towards. Now, first, Daniel, before we get into the poll and say the results, where do you buy games, physical games?
Normally GameStop, because we're both like GameStop Pro Rewards members or whatever, and so I want to earn the points and get the rewards,
Yeah.
So mainly GameStop.
I mostly do GameStop as well. One, because GameStop has, the pre-orders. Mm-hmm. And with that, day one, you can go and pick it up.
Yeah. Did you pre-order Mario Strikers, by the way?
Yeah.
I forgot to do that the other day, but I did put in a pre-order for Lava Love, which I'm excited about. But
I'm glad you're excited about that. I have no interest in it.
I think it's gonna be one of those games you could play in small chunks, which I need.
Mm-hmm. I also mostly buy from GameStop. For a long time, I was on the Walmart train because Walmart it was $10 cheaper for brand new releases. Now they've stopped doing that, and I've stopped buying from them.
Yeah,
because I only went there because it was a $10. And the thing is about Walmart is like it was so hard to get a game on day one because they they would have them in the store, but they wouldn't be out on the shelves, and no one would want to go to the back and get them. And I was like always wanting to get there in the morning, day of, like when they open, be like, give me that game.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to do it. So I'd be like, it was such a
That's
pain.
funny.
Whereas GameStop will have it, you don't have that issue.
Right.
So, and then at GameStop, you do get your $5 a month thing. So it's not $10,
Right.
but it's $5.
Yeah.
So it's at least a little.
And you've also got the used games to look through.
Right.
You got your DS and 3DS case there. You can still peruse through because we still like that stuff.
I'll tell you what I don't do anymore that I used to do is either pre-ordering from GameStop to be delivered to your house or ordering from Amazon pre-order.
Yep. I've been burned
on both of those.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was.
I don't trust the mail.
Amazon.
Oh, wasn't it?
Amazon got me on like Arceus, I think.
Yeah,
and then GameStop got me on Dread.
Yeah, like that's right. Because didn't you have to go buy a separate copy of Dread and then?
No, it came the next day. It just didn't come on release day. But we were gigging anyway.
I did that with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I pre-ordered it through GameStop to come to my house. I don't know why I did it. I should have known not to do it. I just thought I'd try it. And of course, the day I get like a thing saying it's going to come, like it released on a Friday. It wasn't going to come until Monday. And I really wanted to spend the weekend playing it.
Right.
So I went and bought another copy. And then when that one came in the mail, I returned it on that Monday.
You remember how nervous I was about Dread? Same situation because I wanted to play it over the weekend.
Right.
We had a gig Friday night. I was like, okay, well, it didn't come today, but okay. And then it came like midday on Saturday. And then I tried my best to not like pound through the game in 2 days. And I think I stretched it for like a week.
But let's find out what everyone who voted in the poll, what they said.
Yeah. So 18% of y'all agree with us and you go to GameStop.
Or a large gaming retailer, maybe where they're at, it's not a GameStop, but something like that.
Right. 12% of y'all go to a local gaming retailer. So maybe you got some sort of mom and pop game shop in your town.
We don't have one of those around us.
No, we used to. It used to be a game store.
Used to. There is a game store in the nearby town, but it's mostly
it's like tabletop games.
It's mostly they do sell some video games, I think, but I think they're primarily tabletop games. So they're not really a place that you can go and pick up these types of things.
And then 5% of y'all haven't realized that Walmart doesn't give you the discount yet, so you still shop at a supercenter. Another 5% of y'all go to an electronics retailer like a Best Buy.
Now, Best Buy used to have a really good membership program for buying games, and it was really well worth it. I don't think they do that anymore, so I think that a lot of people don't go there.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the Best Buy that's closest to us generally does have a really good selection of games. They have a lot of games.
Yeah, I've perused those before.
Yeah.
But then, if you've been keeping up with the numbers here, you know that 60% of y'all, you just do online, like the Amazon or whatever.
And
you must just not have been burned.
It's convenient, but if you want to play a game on release, they say they can do it, but I've never, maybe once I have gotten it on release day on Amazon.
It's bogus. It's a lie.
Yeah. It's you just can't trust the mail, man.
It got that way when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So I maybe it's that, but.
So we got some comments.
We sure do.
We got Celeria Rose, and they say, thank you for commenting.
Long time commenter.
Yeah, thank you. I'm fully digital at this point through the various main groups, PlayStation, Steam, etc. So whatever, wherever you're getting games. I held on to physical for a while, but eventually it just became more convenient to be able to download the games without needing to drive all the way to the nearest GameStop, which was at the time in the next town over, not horrendously far, but enough to be a bit of a pain to get to. Our nearest GameStop is also
a town over. But we happen to be regulars at a restaurant that's in the same shopping center as that every Monday. So it's not really an issue for us.
No.
Go eat some hot wings and look at the games.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I completely understand the convenience of being all digital. It's super convenient. I'm personally I'm a fanboy of physical media. And so I collect, but if I didn't collect, I think I would be all digital.
Oh yeah. It's very convenient. I mean, I did that for a long time on my Switch. Still have a lot of digital games and I love like the convenience of it. Still do. Like being able to switch between Smash and Mario Kart or whatever, it's great without having to change games. But you know, I eventually became a convert.
Yeah.
Heather Cook, also a longtime commenter, appreciate you, says she hadn't bought a physical game for my console this or last gen, but I collect games for the original Xbox. That's cool. And I buy games for that from a mom and pop shop that I walk to a couple blocks from my house. It's a big city, so their selection is pretty good, and I usually find at least one thing I'm interested in buying for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I really wish we had a little mom and pop shop around.
Me too.
That
would be
when
cool.
we had this store that I wasn't, you know,
I didn't go there much.
no, but I wasn't really into gaming at that time, so it's like
I think I was, but I don't know how old we were. Were we in high school? I guess we could drive.
I don't know.
I don't know. I went in a few times, but
Yeah, same, but I didn't really.
just didn't realize what we had.
No, we didn't realize what we had.
I did support the local comic shop when we had them.
I never went one time, but I don't read comics. So.
I had a pull list.
Did you?
Yeah, I went every month and got the pull list.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, and you know, I think there are a lot of people who, like Heather, you know, collect for an older system, maybe one that they're very nostalgic for, and you know, otherwise they're doing digital now. But I worry about the digital releases because you really don't own them, and if you you eventually are going to run out of, you know, space on your drive, and you're going to have to delete stuff and then re-download it later. And if you don't have the disc, you're relying on their servers being up.
Yeah, I agree completely. I actually bought a physical copy of Hades, even though I have a digital copy, for that very reason. And I may buy a used copy of Smash Ultimate at some point.
Dude, yeah, just get a used copy.
Yeah, because it's so important to
you can
me.
just get a game that's that important to you, get a physical copy.
Yeah.
And you could always be all digital and just pick and choose. You're like, okay, these certain games I really want to have a physical copy of just so that I can have it.
And you could just buy them used and maybe not blow so much money, but it does kind of suck to buy a game twice.
Yes, but if you can buy used, I mean, that's like I talked about Sea of Thieves the other day. I got it at GameStop for $4.
Yeah, that's nothing.
It's like nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. I understand $4. You know, sometimes people don't have $4, but
right.
But
that's around $1 per 100 hours per dollar ish for where we're at right now.
Yeah, Abel here. Again, thank you for commenting. We have so many great people who comment over and over.
We do. We appreciate that.
There's a few local game stores here that sell all generations, so I buy from there whenever I can. I'm one of those people that enjoys having the case and everything with my game.
Mm-hmm. I like those cases.
Nowadays, about all you get is a case. So
that's true. That is true.
They stopped giving you the booklets. It's just the
I
case.
know. I hate that so much, man. And even some of those old games that I still have that I've lost the box for from back in the day, I even bought a couple of replacement cases, and because I agree, I love having the case, but dang, I miss the books.
Me too. I do. I mean, when I was a kid, I did just for fun,
read
the book. Read the book.
I would read the book before I played the game.
Oh, I didn't do that.
I did that.
I definitely.
I was such a nerd.
I didn't do that
because
at
it
all.
always had backstory on the characters, and it would teach you the control. That's how you learn the controls.
Yeah.
I didn't have tutorial at the beginning. I used to love those things. But moving on, we got Larry House MD, who says GameStop's memberships and trade-in programs make shopping there worth it. Stay in physical copy as long as possible. Digital kills a lot of jobs and has no resale or trade-in value.
So I do agree that GameStop's membership program does. In general, they do the $5 a month, and then you also do get discounts on used games. So if you're in the GameStop ecosystem, I do think you can save money through them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Now when he says that digital kills a lot of jobs and has no reseller, I don't know how much it actually kills jobs, but I mean, sure, there are people who, press disc or something, but
yeah.
But the thing that I think really speaks to me here is that digital has no resale or trade-in value, which is that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You can't. If you for example, I was just thinking about this. I'm playing Death Stranding now. Okay, and you've talked about maybe wanting to play it, and I thought, I wonder with a game like Death Stranding, this could be a game that maybe just isn't for you. And maybe you might want to just borrow my copy.
Right.
And if it's digital, you can't do that.
And we've talked about that before too. You can't loan games to your buddies,
Yeah.
which is something we used to always do.
And we still do. You know?
Right.
And we still like, if you wanted to play a game and you were not all in on having your own copy, you just want to try it. If I've got it, like,
Yeah.
you know, like we still do that. And you can't share with your friends. And then also, if you want to resell it, you can't do that.
That's right. And that sucks.
And it also makes the used game market. If everyone's all digital, the used game market's going to dry up.
Yep. That means it's got an expiration date.
Which is sad to me because right now I feel like I have broke this system or something because I've got this thing I'm doing through GameFly where I rent a game when it comes out. And then if I'm not 100% in on it, I play it. And if I decide I want to buy it later, I get either I wait till it's got a really steep discount or I buy a used copy later on when I can get it for super cheap. And I've spent like, you know, instead of spending $70 on the game, I might have a total of like, you know, $10, $15 on it.
Right. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's all our comments on our poll there. We appreciate that again.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
And I reckon we need to close this thing out with what games we're playing, Randy.
Yeah. What game? Well, I already said a second ago that right now I've started Death Stranding.
And we play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. And I already mentioned that I'm playing a new main on Smash Bros. So
and you're playing Mega Man.
And that I'm playing Mega Man X4. And you've heard me talk about Guardians and Triangle Strategy for like weeks now, so that's pretty much it for me.
I finished playing Guardians of the Galaxy this week. Let me think what else I'm playing. I'm still playing Stardew Valley with Catherine. My second playthrough on that. See?
Yeah.
It's back to our original topic.
There you go.
And I'm playing Death Stranding. And it's
How do you like the walking simulator?
Well, I will say that it is very different than any game I've ever played, which does excite me in a way because it's not anything like I've played before. So it's it feels very fresh. Now, whether or not I'm going to fall in love with it or not, that still has yet to be determined.
Right.
But I can tell you that it's very different, and just it being different makes me excited to play it.
Yeah.
Because I've played a bunch of open world games, and you know,
there's some redundancy
but
there.
there's a lot of similarities, and this is not that way.
Well,
it is very unique, and so I got to give it credit for being unique, even if, you know, the jury's still out on whether I'm going to be next week. I may be in here being like, "You've got to try it, man!
Yeah.
It's so cool." But I've really only put in maybe like 4 or 5 hours on it, and I just got to keep giving it a go and see.
Yeah.
But last week I talked about my a saga of getting Nintendo Switch Sports in the mail.
Yes.
Update to that story. My original copy of Nintendo Switch Sports, which I ordered through GameFly, got lost in the mail. So they shipped it to me like a couple days before the actual release date. It didn't get to me on release day. It didn't get to me a week later. I reported it as lost. They sent me another copy, and it came a few days ago. I haven't played it yet, but I'm starting it today. We've been really busy with gigs the last few days.
Oh my God. Yeah, you might be able to hear it in Randy's voice because he's been singing
oh God. Yeah.
since Friday night, basically.
Yesterday I think I sang for like 8 hours straight. So,
yeah. It was.
my voice is definitely a little off today.
Yeah, we've had a marathon. Putting the gig in gaming gig.
But so I'm going to start Nintendo Switch Sports. Probably when I leave here, I'm going to go teach some lessons. But then after that, I'm going to play a little bit.
Yeah. I'm ready to do some chilling too. I'm going to pump out a little bit of lesson planning, and then I'm chilling.
You need to work on Guardians, man. It's really good.
I'm going to.
I finished it, and it was quite good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's just a fun group of characters.
Well, guys, I think that's it for us today. So until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.